Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show.
If you should awaken, I will be there. I will be there when you wake from your lovely.
Hello, and welcome back. I'm going to be trying out a very unique product. It's a Phillips Choice unique. He has a whole brand of honeys and herbs and wellness products. I'm going to be checking those out, and as we go along, I may be mentioning them more as I become more impressed. I met a very beautiful young lady near Louisiana Chicken, and I wish I had written down her name. I would have certainly mentioned it, but anyway, I'm going to be checking out this wonderful product. This is going to be a very unique show because we're going to talk about something very mysterious, something that is unique to metaphysicians around the world, and it's a thing called astral projection. It is the ability to be aware of when your spirit leaves your body. Your spirit leaves your body every time you reach REM sleep. Your spirit cannot stay within your body framework consistently. You will die. Your whole system will break down. So your spirit has to leave. This is evidence that you do have a spirit. When it leaves, it regenerates. It can't regenerate while it's in you concentrating on all your madness. So it has to get away from you and go back into the ethereal plane in order to regenerate. And then it comes back when you wake up. A lot of people have experienced this thing called sleep paralysis, where they're laying in bed and they can't move and they're afraid and it feels like they're falling. The reason that occurs is because our awareness states are alpha, beta, theta, and omega. Alpha is where I am right now and I'm talking to you. Beta is where you're kind of in a dream state. It's the same state you were in when you're under hypnosis or when you're driving and don't realize you've passed your off ramp. Or somebody's talking and you're not really paying them any attention. That's beta. Theta is dream state. That is REM sleep. Omega is basically almost brain dead, where there's no brain activity and no brain wave. Now, this is how we studied it 40 years ago. It has changed. I've looked back recently. Now they have 7 exotic names and they're all rearranged. Well, I'm just going to tell you the way I was taught, old school, in the late 70s. When you are going into this sleep paralysis thing, what's going on is your body your spirit is about to leave your body as if it was at a theta. But you're still at an alpha, which means you're still aware of what's going on. And so what you want to do if you want to astral project is you want to, while you're feeling that feeling of falling and sleep paralysis, instead of panicking because it feels like you're dying, you're going to feel like if you reach the bottom, like you're falling, and if you reach the bottom, you're not going to. And that's how it feels when you pass away, actually. You feel like your body is fading away, and it fades, and all of a sudden your spirit launches. And so, but like I said, it happens every time you go to bed at night. And so, or in the day, whenever. And so, what you're doing is when you start to feel that feeling, you just simply relax, you take a deep breath, and then What you do is you go with the feeling, and then you imagine yourself rising out of your body, but you're really not imagining it because that's what your spirit is actually doing. But this time you're aware enough and you're going to follow it. The first thing you should do is try to sit before you stand up and look around and be completely aware of everything around you. Look at that picture on your wall very vividly. Look at the mirror. Look at all the things that you remember in your room, because the closer you are to realizing this, the closer you are to an astral projection goal. And then you get up and you walk towards your doorway and you notice everything that you can find, that you can notice, you concentrate on. Then you walk down the hall. This is the way I will start to practice this. And then you go into various rooms, visualizing everything within those rooms. Ultimately, when you come back, they say you have arrived when you come back and you see yourself laying on the bed. This is what they taught us in school, and for months or however long we practiced this, it never happens. Until one night, when you're not even trying to do it, and you happen to be a little tipsy or something, and you jump into bed with your woman, and next thing you know, you feel like you're falling. One time I remember, it felt like I was standing up and I had a hole in my pocket, and I had some nickels in my pocket, and the nickels started falling through the holes, but it was so many nickels that they started falling on a hardwood floor, and it was making this crashing sound, and the nickels were rising up, and as the nickels rose, I was falling, and I was like, help, help, you know. I knew my girlfriend was next to me, and I was trying to scream out at her. I was shouting for her, help me, grab me, because I knew all I needed to do was to be grabbing and shaking, and I couldn't say, and I couldn't move. And then all of a sudden, once your brain goes back into an alpha, where I am now, your spirit just says, okay, I guess I have to wait till later on to get some rest, because you just spoiled that. And then I turned to the girlfriend and I said, didn't you hear me screaming for you? Didn't you hear me calling you? And she said, no, you weren't saying anything. I could hear you breathing erratically. But you weren't saying that. I was yelling for you because I was mad because she didn't hear me. I was able to come back because I was able to get one of my fingers to move. And once my finger got to move, I got my whole hand to move, and I came back. Anyway, this is something that metaphysicians practice until they get it down pat. I decided not to. I've launched once, but I decided I was too immature to have this ability. I was young. I was like 21 years old, and I knew I couldn't handle something like that. I would do something that you study and you promise to be practical and mature about these things, but at the time, I would have used that ability in probably negative ways, such as, like, say you don't trust somebody and they tell you they're not going out that night. Oh, I'm going to be home all night. I'm not going anywhere. Well, you leave your body and you go over there to find out that she not only is not home, but you saw when she got dressed and got her, and then talked to some guy on the phone, and then she's going out, and and you saw this with your spirit, and then the next day you say, so what did you do last night? Oh, I just was very tired. I went to bed. No, you didn't. You got a phone call and you dressed up, you had on red, you left at 8:30, and blah, 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 blah. Well, let me tell you what's going to happen after that. She's going to either swear that you were looking through her window, or you have some kind, are you some kind of witch or warlock, or what the hell are you? Why, how the hell? What the heck? I say all that to say this. Hermes the thrice born was a master at astral projection. One of the reasons they called him the thrice born was he was able to remember his incarnations. He also had a special relationship with another very unique character in all this, by the name of Lucifer. Yes, that Lucifer. he became very friendly with Lucifer because only biblicists or something like that is going to paint Lucifer as a evil character, simply because that's how he's written. If you make a movie and in the movie you have Hannibal Lecter, who is a killer, and that's all you know, and you believe that's who he is and that's all he does, well, Hannibal Lecter will be the murdering killer in your mind. Well, in real life, he's an actor. And so Satan is not this evil like sort of thing. Let me explain it to you this way. The only idea we have of Lucifer is what's been written in literature, in the Bible. Well, I'm going to give you another twist on this character Lucifer, because what we have here is a being that is not quite as negative as you think. What happened was you have the creator of the universe, and then you have the Anunnaki, who are advanced beings who created mankind, the Elohims of the book of Genesis, the fallen angels. Now, Lucifer's battle was with them, not the creator of the universe. You don't battle the creator of the universe. He's not even something you can wrap your mind around or anything physical around. But Lucifer's battle was with the fake Anunnaki gods who were pretending to be the gods of heaven. So he was upset with them the whole time. So he was trying to find ways to get back at the Anunnaki for pretending to be gods. Are we clear? Now, in the Bible it explains that the devil is the god of the earth. However, no one seems to know how that came to be. Well, I'll explain how that came to be right now. Like I was saying before, Hermes is the scribe of the gods. He's written over 2,000 books. I managed to get my hands on several of them. That's why I know so much about this person, more so than anybody else I've heard. And so basically, he explains this. He happened to be in lower heaven at a particular time. Lower heaven is a place where it's called atmospheric heaven. In my book, there are 7 levels of heaven. Atmospheric heaven is the lowest. You got lower, you got middle, you got upper, you have the ethereal realm. And so basically, you have to graduate spiritually to reach these different levels. So this is the video we're going to see. So get ready for chapter 48, Hermes in Heaven.
Chapter 48, Hermes in Heaven.
Through channels I arrive in a place where there was light without day and night starless. No clouds, no breeze, few were the sounds to be heard. It seems midday, but no way to discern, recognizing not the pitch of a sunless sky. The land was formless, without scape, nor canopy, nor hill, no mountain, nor birds, nor things that fly, or animals, where through their sounds comfort assured. Just people that seemed to drift, patiently waiting for that which was never to come. The trees and flowers and plants seemed without life, yet in full bloom still, as if they were artificial. Yet everywhere you looked, they were there in an unfamiliar bloom. I reached out to touch the moistened soil. It was dry, though seemingly wet, and a texture of a dissimilar grain, like soil of a different world, like none other I have felt on my earth. Through channels I have seen the future, yet so strange as this place. It was as if I were in the future of a past time. The building seemed doorless, No openings apparent, just walls like castle dungeons standing high above ground. No pillars or bricks or stone, solidity with great thought. I attempt to speak to someone, no look, no answer. They seem not to see me, though in front I stand directly. I am here, though not here really. It seems I can float through space as if I had wings, yet the need for wings were not. High above or down below, I move freely. If I stand in place, people walk through me. I cannot tell if the translucence is of me or them. I believe I'm in a place not of the world from which I've come, as if my vibrations were tuned to a different frequency, out of tune, out of touch. In this place things are different. Could this be what is called dimensions of which I have no experience to have conceptualized? People look like people, yet they don't seem to breathe nor have scent. When they walk, their footfalls make no sound. Their mouths need not move to speak, and their eyes seem beset with mystery and inordinate sadness. They walk in groups of at least 3, never alone or distance from each other, no expression. It is as if to be seen alone was not allowed in the here. Here, sunset does not exist, nor rise or stellar bodies whatsoever. Just here, just now, no passing of time. Sudden environmental changes for a time, then back again. For some reason I feel no need for housing, drifting along the non-passage of time. It is as if I'm in this place to meet something, someone extremely important, sent from the infinite divine dweller.
Hermes the thrice-born had become quite comfortable projecting his spirit through channels, back and forth to heavens and beyond. By this time he had lost all fears pertaining to this endeavor. He was able to visit all but one of the heavens, the last being the ethereal, which is unreachable without the highest level of spirituality. However, it was in the nature of Hermes to at least attempt to reach that which was supposedly unreachable. He felt that if he were to do something extraordinary, he may qualify to enter the ethereal realm for at least a moment only. So he began to think of the unthinkable. Hermes was aware that spirits in the ethereal heaven are not able to sustain their presence because of their overwhelming generosity of spirit. They find it extremely difficult to relax when there is suffering taking place anywhere. One place where Hermes felt a great deal of suffering to be taking place was in the soul of the angel Lucifer. How could a spirit live with such a reputation, especially a spirit from such a divine realm? So Hermes pondered the matter with great sincerity, although he knew that Lucifer would never admit that being evil was beginning to wear down on him. After all, he was the poster angel for evil. What on earth would evil be without him? But the ever-ambitious Hermes knew that evil would be just fine without Satan. In fact, he felt that it may take a Satan to replace a Satan. So began the plan to reinvent the image of the one person who had the worst image in the entire history of the universe. A persona that was so pervasive that other evils would long to possess the reputation of the master. So impugning and negatory was this reputation that religions were established under a veil, yet still, in his honor. Hermes then set out to find Lucifer, which was not entirely difficult to do. In fact, on any given Sunday you would easily find Lucifer at a synagogue or in a church in atmospheric heaven, teasing and mocking the saints for ending up in his realm. As soon as Hermes found Lucifer between services, he told him who he was and where he came from as he sat down with him to discuss the matter at hand.
Satan, or Lucifer, I have something very important to chew over with you if I can, sir,
said Hermes.
Satan replied,
"Please don't call me Satan on Sundays. On Sundays, I'm the devil."
Okay,
said Hermes.
Well, devil, I've been thinking about your present situation.
What situation is that?
Well, you know, the one about you being evil and all. How about we devise a plan to make you a spiritual hero? How about you doing something great for humanity?
Lucifer began what could only be described as the greatest laughing binge since the beginning of time. His bass and baritone growl of emotions were heard throughout the lower heavens. When Lucifer finally began to calm himself, his only reply was to ask Hermes what the devil has come over him. Just then, in the midst of laughter, Lucifer looked into the eyes of Hermes and noticed that Hermes was quite offended, and to think was most saddening to Hermes was what he was in fact trying to do. Hermes was trying to do something of great kindness for Lucifer. This seemed to be the first time in history that anyone had ever tried to do something positive for Satan. Lucifer then gathered himself and responded by saying next to nothing, as his soul was still in a mindset of disbelief.
Don't you know? I am the supreme archangel, the one Lucifer. You see, I hide my horns in many different forms, yet I stay Lucifer. This is my heaven, the one that I have prepared. In fact, my heaven is the most inhabited heaven in all the heavens.
This is not possible. How could this be?
Said Hermes.
You are evil.
That's what they say.
Said Lucifer.
You are truly the number one hellion of them all, aren't you?
That's what they believe.
Said Lucifer.
You capture souls and take them to hell for eternity, don't you?
I be that.
Saith Lucifer.
Why should I capture spirits when they will war and kill to come here voluntarily?
What manner of deception is this? You lie, you deceive, don't you?
Again, that's what they say.
So how could you truly be the devil Beelzebub and yet run this heaven?
All hobgoblin like me truly need to is tell truths. Humans find the truth almost impossible to believe. Humans love lies. They love my lies. They love following me and my lies willingly.
How long have you been doing this?
For 1,000 years or so, ever since that impostor of a deity from the planet Nibiru, who calls himself Jehovah, told me I could never be a god like him. Who is he to tell me he is not a true god? The supreme being that created the universe and all of us, all they did was create man in their image. Why, he is not even an archangel. Everyone knows that archangels rule the heavens. We have always ruled the heavens, and so now I shall recapture his creations and bring them all into my heaven, onto me, in the same name as him.
Again with that familiar roar.
Let me tell you what that narcissistic, egocentric, self-infatuated, egotistical, preoccupied nerd of a being tried to get me to do.
Pray tell, what might that be?
Asked Hermes.
He tried to get me to bow down on my knees to that sorry son of a bitch, Adam, who he made out of some clay. I'll be damned if I do.
Where am I now, Lucifer, and what have I become?
Hermes asked.
You are in atmospheric heaven.
Saith Lucifer.
I am the god of this realm.
Oh no, this cannot be. For if you are indeed Lucifer, then heaven this cannot be.
The true God created me and all spirits from the fire of the universe, not impure, non-sterile, unnatural clay dirt of earth. What manner of a God would do such a filthy and barbaric thing? All of this is truly beneath the divine principles of the true God, the infinite all. So I left that area, became acquainted with Jehovah's first cousin, who never really liked him in the first place, and the reclamation process began in atmospheric heaven, the lowest heaven. After giving it an extreme makeover, top to bottom of course, all that was needed was to make this heaven appear difficult to enter. Like a private lodge on a greater scale, only the chosen few could enter, and I, in different form, conducted the interviews. The true God would never agree to segregate or discriminate between his beloved creations. These terms are negative. God does not do negative. I am the author and perpetrator supreme of negative terms. I released a list of divine instructions that were passed down to Moses on Mount Sinai. All wished to enter this realm after the list was revealed. It was as simple as trapping monkeys. All I needed was some riches, some promises, and a bunch of blessings. They come running. I then entered into the minds of man a belief in a venerated, reverent, most sacred scripture that if altered would generate great wrath by God himself, or shall I say, the supreme imposture, me. For this contradiction I felt great disappointment within myself. In no way would God create such a righteousness to be passed on as scripture. Perhaps I too am led into a trapped monkey.
What mountain top was that? And who is this fellow, Moses?
Asked Hermes.
Oh, sorry about that. Getting my years mixed up.
Said the archdemon. Hermes then asked Lucifer.
Don't you feel just a little sadness for these people here? They look depressed.
Hell, you would too if you had to listen to the same 3 gospel songs. Amazing Grace, When the Saints Go Marching In, and Ave Maria for thousands of years. I'm even sick of them, and I picked the 3. Every day the same old preachers saying the same old things, promising the same old stuff. I even tried to get Enlil up here to cause another flood event that it might end it all, but he didn't call me back. I heard he said it won't work. Said up here the water wasn't real enough. Said the water was as fake as I was. He was right. It is not. This is not exactly a material world. I tried to leave here more than once, but y'all made me stay. Said as long as there are beings here I must stay. I created this heavenly hell of a bed. Now I must lay in it. If only I could stop people from wanting to come here, elevate the ones that are here, then maybe I could leave someday. Sure would like to join my old jazz band. They're still performing a vast array of songs every night in Middle Heaven with Gabriel blowing lead horn. Oh, if you could only hear us play Bugle Boy in C major.
Hermes felt that he now had the better side of Lucifer's attention, as Lucifer did inquire of the first step in this futile endeavor. Hermes said,
You must come with me down to earth, that we may gain a better understanding of our circumstance.
As soon as Lucifer heard the word go, he began to panic. At this point one would not even recognize this person as the being that he was. At this point no one had ever considered Satan to have fears. However, it was not known what Satan's deepest fear was. The reason behind this fear was unclear. Up until this time Lucifer had never even considered existing in a material world. He saw what happened to most of the other fallen angels that attempted to journey that existence, and most of them found it to be an impossible task. Not impossible to go, but impossible to maintain your behavior when feeling the pleasures of the flesh for the first time, or the last time for that matter. Some of the beings that had tried came back with entirely different shapes than the ones they had when they left. Not even the lack of materialism made much of a difference. Gluttony would show itself even in the spiritual realm, not to mention the pleasures of the flesh simply because of the pleasures of it. These were 2 reasons Lucifer had never attempted to go down to the worlds. Hermes then asked if it were possible could he then go? Lucifer simply replied that he did not know. Hermes did in fact know of a way to travel back and forth from dimension to dimension. He explained to Satan that they must enter a mental state, then create a bridge through which the 2 could travel. Hermes felt that Satan might be the perfect person to help him figure out how to deal with the Anunikas, who were now posing as gods down on earth. Hermes said to Satan that if anyone should be posing as God, it should be him. After all, he felt that Satan could do no worse than these big-headed, long-bearded beings. Hermes showed Satan how to crouch down low as if he were sitting upright on the floor. Hermes would then open a tunnel with his mind, and they would then jump into it.
Satan, now you see, the trick is to make an abrupt turn at every angle. However, you must keep turning while venturing deeper and deeper towards the destination,
said Hermes.
Oh, and never mind the noisy hounds that will be chasing us the entire way. They can only travel in straight directions and in curves. It is at each angle where we will distance ourselves from them. If you hear a snap or feel a bite, speed up and get ready to turn.
The 2 began traveling downwards, banking and turning at each opportunity. So far there were no hounds, yet Hermes felt more uncomfortable than ever before. Hermes had traveled through this particular passage a few times before, and it was at this place where the worst of the hounds were to be found. The 2 began to move slowly down the path as they could hear the hounds panting and breathing while growling with a slow deep roar. Though the 2 could hear the growls in the distance, they did not seem to be venturing nearer to their location. They had been traveling for 2 hours and had only 1 hour to go. Hermes then decided to stop altogether to see exactly what the hounds were up to. He had never made it this far without being confronted by the savage beast, the hellhounds as they were known as. When they stopped, they could hear the hounds began to whimper, like sad little puppies. The hounds seemed neither vicious nor deadly. Hermes then began to taunt and tease the hounds, feeling rather guilty for traveling through their realm without challenge. The hounds would only whimper more as they kept their distance. Hermes wondered what was wrong with them on this day.
Perhaps they were not feeling well or something,
said Hermes as he looked back at Satan. As soon as Hermes realized who he was looking at, he understood what was wrong with the hounds, and so did the devil. So the two just casually walked upright the rest of the way, while Hermes and Satan came up with a plan for Earth. By the time the two had made it back, Satan came up with an extremely good deed that could be done for humanity.
Subscribe and push the like button.
Thank you guys for coming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I love everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Subscribe and push the like button.